Welcome to the Love on the Go podcast, brought to you by Carolina's Matchmaker. I'm Lori Burzak, and for over 17 years, I've been helping singles find the relationship of their dreams all over the Carolinas. Along the journey, I've met so many amazing professionals and experts from various fields, and I'm excited to introduce them to you. What's my goal? I want to help you look at love and relationships in a new way and to grow in your understanding of how love works. Let's learn together how people have overcome personal obstacles and have found love, first and foremost with themselves. The ultimate goal is realizing that you are worthy and deserving of love. Let's get started. Well, today we have a very special guest and somebody who I have known for many years, Colleen Odegaard. How are you today?
Hi, Lori. I'm doing great. It's so good to see you. I've loved working with you over the years, and usually I was interviewing you, and now the tables turned. So this is interesting.
Yes, it is. So Colleen, you and I know each other from Charlotte Today from years gone by. I would get on the set and you would interview me because you were on their show for many, many years, opening in the Charlotte market and surrounding areas, talking about, it's kind of like, the Today Show in Charlotte. And since then you've moved on, so I want to hear about that. But so Colleen is an Emmy award-winning broadcast journalist and TV host, certified life coach, video and media coach, and the host of Wake Up Your Life podcast. So I thought it would be fun to bring another podcaster on who's really doing some incredible work with people. And I want to hear all about what you're doing. So you coach people on how to wake up to their lives. What was your personal experience with waking up to yours, and what inspired you to start doing this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm still in the process of awakening. I think that we do that until the day we drop dead, really. If we're living with any kind of intentionality, hopefully we are always growing and we are always waking up. But for me, the whole thing was, I had this life that looked good on paper, that life that maybe looked good on social media or looked good on paper. I had all the elements, all the makings of a happy life, yet I didn't feel like I was happy all the time. No one is happy all the time, but I felt like something was missing. And it was sort of, my career felt stale. It looked glamorous, but it felt stale. It was kind of like doing this, going through the motions every day, looked much the same. And I thought, what do I want more of? I never even asked myself that question. What is it that I want to create? What is it that I want to do, have, experience? What's holding me back? My thinking was holding me back. And that is the case for so many people. That everything we want is on the other side of a brave decision. It's a matter of like stepping up to the plate and trying some stuff. And so that was sort of the waking up process for me. Like, there's got to be more to this life than what I'm existing on day to day.
Right.
What happened if I tried? What would happen if I started asking myself those questions? So that's what I did, and totally changed my life. And it's changed in many ways. And that's what I do for my clients.
So did you go and get did you do one of those courses on coaching? What is your background?
I did. I went to the Life Purpose Institute and got certified as a life coach, and had practice clients and did all the things that you do when you go through a coaching program. And I loved it. And I just love this work. I believe in it because I see the real transformation that happens for people, as I'm sure you do with your clients.
Oh yeah, I'm completely 100%. So are the people that you're working with, what's sort of the general people that work with you and hire you?
Mm-hmm. As of late, it's been a lot of single women, I think, because I am now a single person myself. So I don't know why that is, but they seem to be coming in. But it really runs the gamut. It can be somebody who just wants to improve their relationships, who's looking to have more confidence, who's making a career change, but their fear of failing is getting in the way.
Okay. So you run through exercises to help them stop being fearful of their lives and sort of push through that wall, get to the other side, like what you've gone through.
Yeah, identify what their goals are, what is it they even want, and coming up with an action plan to help them get there.
Okay, wonderful. And you and I spoke right after your separation. I know it's public, so I'm not bringing out anything that you haven't come out with yourself on your own podcast. So I remember you called me when you were first getting separated. And since you and I had this special relationship of just sort of talking on camera, off camera about, matchmaker to TV host, what do single women do, men do when they're out there, and kind of laughing a little bit and shedding a tear sometimes about, how difficult it is out there, and then you find yourself in that situation. So what happened, and sort of fill us in.
Mhm. I was with my husband for 23 years. We were married 21 years. And in April 2020, yes, it ended. He said he no longer wanted to be in a marriage and that he wanted a divorce. And I never thought I would be a divorced person. Never
Mhm.
thought I would be a divorced person. And so to be very transparent and,
Yeah.
and honest with you and your listeners, I didn't know if I could survive it. And I that may sound dramatic.
Mhm.
Obviously I'm much more healed now. And I go, okay, my life with him is over. My life isn't over, but
Right.
it rocked my world. It was like everything I knew. And I was so proud of my family more than anything, more than my career.
Mhm.
I was proud of my family.
Yeah.
And to have the family look so different was just like more that I could take. It was, I didn't know how to go on without my family unit intact.
Mhm.
And so it was very troubling. And now I've forgotten the question you asked me. You
Well, I
asked
mean,
me.
I'm curious, and I'm sure that it crosses everyone's mind. You're in this long-term relationship. Was this a surprise to you when he said
So,
he no longer wanted to be in the marriage, or?
um, yeah, and yes and no. We had been the
Mhm.
last 2 to 3, 4 years of our marriage were very difficult. I mean, we were not getting along. We were fighting. We
Right.
couldn't seem to get on the same page about anything. So I knew that there was trouble
Right.
and that neither one of us was particularly happy,
Mhm.
but I didn't think that would happen. So it did come as a shock when it was like, I'm out. That did come as a shock to me, very much so.
Right.
Mhm.
Was there like a straw that broke the camel's back for him?
I don't know. We'd have to ask him.
Yeah. Okay. So
No,
that didn't really
no,
come
I think
out.
it was just that no, I
Okay.
think that Laura, you know how this happens when people split up, especially couples
Yeah.
who you don't think are going to split up. And I went through a lot of that, a lot of shame after we split because people said like people who knew our family or knew
Right.
us and even our close friends
Right.
were shocked. Like, what? You guys seem so
Yeah.
happy with each other. And we
Yeah.
had many happy years. I mean,
Yeah.
we had many happy years until we didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that when people were so shocked and I carried the shame about that. But I think people want to hear like, oh, this happened. There was another person, or they want to be able to pin it on something.
Right.
And I would just say it was kind of dissolving over time because we weren't intentional
Okay.
years with nurturing our marriage. And I think we
Right.
both held grudges about things and just chose to never let them go. I,
Yeah.
I can look back and see the mistakes that I made, um, not just the mistakes he made. For a while, I was only fixated on the mistakes he made, and I couldn't own mine.
Right.
But I have looked at it now and gone, you know what? I didn't always do things in the best way possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the reason I ask the question certainly isn't to like point a finger or anything like that. I just always wonder, like, what is that final moment where somebody just says, I'm done, I'm out, even when they've been working on it for so long. And I'll ask people that question when they come to me, and sometimes they don't know, and then sometimes they do. And it's often something really small, just something that's just more of the same, and they're just exhausted, and then they're done.
I would say that's it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was what it wasn't one thing. It was
Yeah.
just, gosh, like I'm so tired,
Yeah.
tired of fighting. I'm tired of the tension. I'm tired. Like
Yeah.
let's call it. I think
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if people can learn from it, that's when they can really move on. And it sounds like that's what you've done. You've taken responsibility, and hopefully he has too, and you've learned from it so that the next relationship you're in, and I'd love to hear if you're in one now or not, later on, that you can kind of learn from it, but each relationship is fresh and new. So it's hard sometimes not to take that baggage into the next relationship. And I assume, and she has a big smile on her face right now for those of you that aren't watching on YouTube. Like, what have you taken away from your experience?
You're so right, Lori, about hard not to take the baggage in, but that's the work that people have to do.
That's right.
That's the work.
Yeah.
That's the work that I have committed to for the
Mhm.
past year and a half, so that I don't make the same mistakes, and so that
Yeah.
I'm a better partner.
Yeah.
I really want to be a great partner. So I've had to look at, you know what? I have some anxious attachment issues.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Let's deal with that. Hey, I can be emotionally reactive. I don't always regulate my emotions.
Yeah.
So also not healthy. Like you have, I think that I did that, to him. If I
Mhm.
was upset about something, I needed him to make me feel better. It's like that wasn't his
Mm.
job. It was my job to make myself feel better. You know,
Mm.
and having to step up and be a grown up has been really hard, but I'm much better at doing that now. I'm much better at doing that. If I get triggered, I was like ready to do battle. I was ready to,
Yeah.
you always, da, 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 da. Well, that sucks. No one wants to be talked to like that or hear that.
Mhm.
And again, I'm talking about myself. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but this is the way I've taken responsibility for myself. So it is my intention and my hope that in another relationship, I will be so much different. I'm very attuned to how I speak, choice of
Mhm.
words, tone of voice, expression on my face, all of those things.
Right.
And I'm usually like that with other people. I just wasn't like that with my husband.
I know because we take our husbands for granted, many
Totally.
people, and that's what spouses do. And I think that sometimes they become complacent and they stop working, and that it is easier almost to fight and be kind of in that mindset than
Mhm.
say, okay, how am I being right now? Is sometimes I'll look at myself and say, would I like to be spoken to in this manner? And I'll just like stop and then switch gears or take a time out. I think it's important. I mean, nobody is perfect. You're right. All we can do is continue to work on ourselves and try to be better humans. That's it. That's all we got.
I love that you stop and ask yourself that question. It's a great question to
Yeah.
say, how would I feel if someone were speaking to me like this? Ooh,
Yeah.
and it makes you change your behavior.
Yeah, it does. I mean, recently, just to share, my dad recently passed away, and I had been really sad and sitting in a lot of grief. And I had been grumpy. And I stopped myself the other night and I looked at my husband. I started to cry and I said, I am so sorry. I have been really grumpy lately and I apologize. And he looked at me and he smiled and he gave me a hug and he's like, it's okay. You're allowed to be grumpy. And it just washed everything away. But I realized I don't want to be the kind of person that's snappy and snarly and all that kind of stuff. And there's no excuse for it. If we can just pause and just talk less and be more intentional about what we say, I think the world would be definitely a better place.
I'm sorry about your father,
Thank you.
Lori. You just said if we could pause. I tell people the pause is where the magic is.
Mhm.
You can pause before before you say a bunch of crap that you're going to
Yeah.
regret later.
Yep.
Just taking that beat gives you the moment to recognize that you have choice.
Yeah.
We're very quick to, and I idle high. I mean, I'm an idle high kind of gal, so I was very quick
Mhm.
to spit stuff out before I'd even thought about it. So I've learned to slow down,
Yep.
pause, and think about how do I want to react in this, because you don't want to do further damage in your relationship.
Mm-mm.
My divorce has taught me, like, I care about people's relationships so much. My
Mhm.
divorce makes me not want anyone else to have to go through this because it's
Yeah.
so sucky awful in every way. It's terrible. And
Yeah.
so I want people to fight for their marriages. I mean, if you've got
Yeah.
to call it, you have to call it. And I understand
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
And certainly in cases of abuse or absolutely, right. But
Mhm.
I want people to try to work on it and before they reach the point of contempt for each other, because then it's too late.
It is. It
Then
is
it's
too late at that point. You're right. And that's when they come to me.
yes. Yeah, that's right.
We
That's
need to
right.
pass the baton a little bit. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what like is okay, so you've done all this work on yourself. Tell me, have you been dating? How are you meeting people? How's it going?
Yeah. So I am not on dating apps.
Okay.
I drunk bumbled for 5 hours. So
Yeah.
it was a Saturday night. I was home
Wow.
alone, had 3 glasses of wine. I was like, it just sucks. I hate this. So I'm like, let me see what this bumble's about. So I put the app on my phone.
Right.
And it's like, upload photos. I was like, damn, yo, I got photos for days. I'm uploading photos and I'm putting a phone, and I don't write a word about myself. I put my name, my age, photos. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what did I do? Oh God, why would I do? I'm not ready for this. And so I opened up the app and I had all this activity. I didn't even understand how the thing worked,
Were
right?
you swiping the night before?
Yes. And I
Okay.
don't think I even realized left or right, which was which. And
Oh,
oh
that's
my
funny.
God, I like screwed up the whole thing. So anyway, I deleted the app without even
Okay.
looking at who might have responded or
Okay.
I deleted it. Well, then there were a couple of people who recognized me from my time on television in Charlotte, where I
Yeah.
live. And so then they messaged me DM'd me on Instagram and Facebook. I was like, I wasn't ready for that. That was premature. That was drunk, lonely, bumbling for 5 hours. I made a mistake. So no, I am not on any of that. I'm meeting people out in the wild organically and
Okay.
friends.
So how does that differ, meeting through friends versus out in the wild?
I'd prefer to meet through friends.
Yeah.
You know, that's better to me. But yeah, I guess I just kind of met people out in the wild, really. And once I've been very public about my split because I have a podcast, as you mentioned, I've
Yeah.
talked about it. So people kind of came out of the woodwork. It was like, oh, I heard you're single, and I met you this one time, that at something, and I'd love to take you out. But I got to tell you, it's it's
Well,
been
you're
interesting.
so easy to talk to that I can only imagine any man going out with you must just sit there mesmerized, staring wistfully into your eyes, listening to you talk. And I mean, you could talk to a brick wall. So I'm assuming they all walk away thinking that was the best date in the world. And you're like, yeah, he's not for me.
Right.
Am I right? They're like, when can we see each other again? You're like,
Not gonna
never.
happen. Not gonna happen.
But then the hard part is you can't ghost them because you need to keep up your public persona of being nice. Right?
Oh, I'm such a sweetheart. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Meanwhile, you're texting your friends, how do I get out of this?
This guy was a dud. Yeah.
Right. But I need to be nice because he follows me on all my
Right.
socials.
I don't want him to talk crap about me on Instagram.
So what's an easy way for you to let somebody go gently? Have you figured it out yet? How to do that?
You know what? I'm really just very honest.
Okay.
This just isn't working out,
Mhm.
and I'm not feeling this. You're really wonderful, and I'm just not feeling this, and good luck to you. Just being honest and straight. I think that too many people play around with words. And I
Yeah.
think being very clear and direct is very kind and loving.
Yes.
I actually think that is the more loving thing to do than to ghost somebody
Yeah.
or make up a lie about
Yeah.
something.
Do you
But
think it's ghosting if it's just one date?
no,
It's not. I
no.
mean, to say, I think it's so strange when people think they need to reach out and say, sorry, it didn't work out. And if a guy does that and the woman's like, yeah, it didn't work out for me either, but wasn't going to say anything.
It's
I mean,
one
back
day.
in the old days, right? It's like you go on a date, if you don't hear from them, you don't hear from them again. It's like, okay, that's the answer. So I don't think it's ghosting after one date.
I don't either.
No.
I
Okay.
agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So have you gone on more than 5 dates with anyone?
Yes.
And did that turn into a relationship of 3 months or more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the magic number
Oh, is it?
that I have noticed anecdotally in all my 16 years of being a matchmaker. If I hear that somebody's gone on 5 dates or more, it turns into something. It doesn't always work out, but
Right.
it's usually 3 to 6 months long. And then, they figure it out. But 5 dates is that is a long time to be dating somebody in the beginning for it not to turn into something. Because usually by date 2 or 3, you're like, no, it's
Totally.
not going to work, right? But it
That's a
takes a
lot of
few
hours
dates.
logged. That's some time together.
It
That's
is.
now we're, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get past all the starting points where it could have been fun and lively, and then you start getting into some deeper topics and maybe bring up religion or politics and kid stuff or something that's wrong, and then people are like, do I cut bait now? Are there red flags? And then they either let it go or they continue on. Yeah. Okay. Or there's
But you know what?
chemistry.
Here's what I learned, Lori.
Mhm.
Um, you know, one relationship I wasn't ready for it, and I thought I was.
Okay.
And um, we kind of fell head over heels. I've never even talked about this on my podcast. So,
Okay.
and was very cliche. He was somebody, oh God, I hate to even say it, but he was someone I went to high school with. He heard a
Yeah.
podcast I did about getting divorced. And
Yeah.
he sends me a message on Facebook, like old people
Oh
do,
God, yes.
and said, I just listened to your podcast about your divorce. And oh
Mhm.
my gosh, I was crying. I feel this and I would love to talk with you. I said, of course, here's my number. And he was a boy in high school who I went to a dance with, and we dated a little bit, but I
Okay.
hadn't talked to him in a million years. So then we reconnect, and then it's this boom, like
Yeah.
intense, and oh my God, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Long distance,
Yep.
right? That's another thing. He's in
Mhm.
California and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mhm.
And, looking back on it now, I think, was it real, or was it just I needed to not feel the pain? Because the truth
Mhm.
is, I was still in so much pain
Yeah.
over the breakup of my marriage. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel it anymore. And here was somebody telling me how amazing I was. And I thought, see, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it because it feels good, but
Mhm.
I wasn't, and I think there's a lot of wisdom when people say, take time after you split to
Yeah.
date. There are a lot of people who fall right back into relationship. And I'm not knocking it, listener, if you're one of those people, I understand it. But
Yeah.
I do think there's wisdom and value in spending some time by yourself and really learning. It sounds so hokey, but like falling in love with you yourself, like being okay being alone. Like I had to learn how to tolerate the lonely evenings by myself
Yeah.
in my quiet house, and
Mhm.
not have a drink or buy something online or eat food, or like
Mhm.
like just to sit with it and go, it's okay, I can just sit here and be sad. So
Yeah.
that relationship didn't work out for lots of reasons. I mean, one being long distance, but then it was too much, too fast. It was like, I think that the intensity felt like intimacy, and it wasn't
Mm.
that, it was just intense, like, oh, you're hot, whoa, that kind of thing.
But also you had that safe feeling of I knew him when I was in high school and I was even attached to him a little bit in high school. Maybe he was supposed to be the one. And so
Right.
it's like a little bit of fairy tale feeling.
Absolutely. It was like,
Mhm.
I know this person. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Well, I knew him a long ass time ago. Like I haven't
Yeah.
talked to him in a million years, but it did
Right.
feel safe and comfortable. And
Mhm.
yeah. And then I've gone on some dates where I just knew it wasn't going to work out. And then there was someone who matchmaker, you probably have some advice on this one. It's
Yeah.
funny because, I can do this for other people, but when it comes to yourself, you tell yourself all kinds of things. But
Right.
there's a guy who I'd seen a couple of times, and we'd known each other, and I really like him. Like
Mhm.
I thought he was great. But he also said he's not looking for a relationship.
Mm.
Said that from day one. And I acted like I was all cool, like, yeah, I'm not looking for a relationship either. I mean, I'm still grieving my marriage, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, I actually am. Like, I do want one.
Yeah.
I want a person to go deeper with and
Mhm.
be my guy.
Yeah.
I do want that. So, when you do that thing in the beginning and you try to act like a normal person and like you're so cool with whatever, and it became clear to me, like, I'm going to get hurt in this. This is not going to end up well for me, because the more time we spend together, the more I liked him,
Yeah.
and it's funny because I just had a very real conversation with him right before we started this podcast. So
Yeah.
saying, I don't think this is going to work. We just said this is going to work, but it was really sad. Bummed out about it.
Yeah. I don't blame you for being bummed out. And you and I both know that he told you from the get-go what he wanted and what he didn't want.
He did.
And I think that a lot of women, and probably men too, think they can change someone, or, oh, well, once he sees my sparkling personality, he'll change his mind and he'll fall in love with me and he'll change all that. But that's not the case. Same goes with men saying to women, I don't want to have children. Women think, oh, but if he loves me, he'll have a child. No, he
Mhm.
does not want to have children. And if they do end up having kids, the guy is resentful and, oftentimes not a great dad or husband. And then that's what breaks up marriages.
Take people at their word, when
Yeah.
they say that.
Yeah.
And absolutely, like, don't fall for that. Oh, and because then it's even some form of manipulation. Like, even
Mm.
me acting like I was cool with this arrangement. whether
Yes.
it's friends with benefits or whatever. Like, we're just going to
Yes.
hang out. We're not going to define it, but we're going to go out. We're going to make out. We're going to, right. All that kind of stuff.
Right.
Which, by the way, it's fun to kiss a new person when you've been with the same person for a really long time. I will say that part is really fun. That is
Kissing
really
comes
fun.
back in, huh?
That's so fun. Oh my God, it's so fun. But acting like I was okay with it
Right.
was a betrayal of myself. And
That's, yeah.
and kind of a little bit manipulative, on some level. I thought, you know what? I told myself, whatever relationship I'm in, I'm going to be so honest. I'm going to be clear and direct about what it is that I want
Yeah.
and be honest about it. So that's kind of what's happened. And yeah, I told him, I said, he said, yes, like, this gets difficult. I said, yeah, it really does get difficult. And I think it's just, I can't
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not to your benefit to do it, because it's just now you're getting attached and now it's starting to hurt.
I want women to love themselves, and men too. But this is really for women. I feel this very strongly because, to your point, Lori, I do
Mhm.
think a lot of women are, well, like, yeah, he's going to just see how great I am.
Mhm.
Don't sell yourself short. Do not be somebody's maybe. Don't take the leftovers. Don't take the
Yeah.
breadcrumbs. Don't take that. You're worth more than that. Like, you're so special and deserving of love, and you have so much love to give. Why would you settle for being somebody's maybe? Somebody who's ambivalent, somebody
Yep.
who's not putting in the effort that you're putting in.
Mhm.
Through that, man. Get out. Get out. You can find somebody who's going to love you for how amazing you are. And sometimes it's not even about you, most of the time. If
Yep.
somebody's not all in, it's their trip. You have no idea. Maybe they're still talking to their ex-girlfriend or their
Mhm.
ex-wife, or maybe they're in debt. Maybe, you have no clue what's going on for them.
That's
So
right.
just, that's where I see women get very like, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't he like me? Nothing's wrong with you.
Right.
It just doesn't work out sometimes. Bad timing, whatever it is. But
Mhm.
you just need to be able to love yourself enough
Mhm.
to say, no, like, I deserve this. I'm okay. Ouch, this hurts. You think I like telling this guy today, like, yeah, okay, well, like, we're not going to do this anymore? No, I don't like it at all. I'm really sad
Right.
about it. I like him.
Right.
I like him, and wanted to see where it would go. But I
Yeah.
know it's not going to end well for me to do this with a man who says, I don't want to be in a relationship. Okay, Colleen. Like, why are you going after that? Why are you going after that? So yeah.
So this is your one and done of that situation. So now you've had two
Yeah.
really good examples, right? Of what it feels like to get into a relationship with two different situations. We'll call it situationships, and to walk away. So next time you hear that, you'll be like, no, pass. I've been there and done that already. It didn't work for me. But you
Correct.
had to go through it, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Now the hard thing is going to be when you're sitting there lonely at night and he reaches out, how are you doing?
Oh,
And
God.
what are you up to? Or he sends you a picture of him at the beach thinking of you. How do you say, no, I don't want a part of that? That's going to be the tricky part. So I'm going to really encourage you to
Thank you,
sit.
coach.
You're
Yes.
welcome. And this is what I do with my online dating clients.
Mhm.
They hire me for a reason. And this is it, is, until somebody says, I tell them, you stay online, you continue dating other people until someone says to you, I don't want you online anymore. I don't want you dating other people. Like, I only want to be dating you. And I hope that you feel the same. And let's see if we can really do this. Let's get off all the apps and let's really try to pursue a relationship. I'm into you. That's what everybody wants to hear. That's the right thing to hear.
Yes.
Not like, oh yeah, I want to keep my options open. I'm not really ready for this, but I'm really enjoying your time. So earlier when you were talking about manipulation, really what, you were manipulating yourself is what you're really saying. In effect, your brain was telling you something, and our brains can go in that toilet bowl circle thing, but our hearts and our souls know something else.
Yeah.
So if your brain says to you, oh, well, I'm lonely and this will make me feel better, like put a little Band-Aid over the pain, over the grief, just remember you're going to have to tear that Band-Aid off again if you get back into it.
Yep.
And it hurts worse the second time.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and if you do end up going back for a little more pain, forgive yourself. It's
Yeah.
okay,
Well,
but
yeah. And I totally agree with you. Like
Yeah.
self-compassion.
Yeah.
I even have to have self-compassion for the me of a couple of weeks ago who was like, yeah, I'm cool with this arrangement. Like that, it was what you just said. It was my head was saying one thing, my heart and soul saying something different. Like,
Yep.
man, actually is somebody I would like to get to know better. Like he's not just a super cute. He was just really great.
Yeah.
And but knowing that he doesn't want a relationship, and knowing that I do,
Yeah.
then acting like I don't, well, that's crazy. So I'm
Yeah.
better now at like just sort of knowing what my boundary is. And I have
Yeah.
compassion for myself, but knowing like, yeah, because it's hard out there. It's tough out there.
Yeah.
And what I hate to see is when people are beating themselves up
That's
for
right.
their missteps. It's hold yourself tenderly. Actually,
Hmm.
put your hand on your heart and say, okay, yeah, that one didn't work out. I tried. I put myself out there. I'm proud of myself for doing that. And boy, that wasn't
Hmm.
the outcome I wanted. Oh, this
Hmm.
hurts. And eventually the pain, if you allow it, and it's more of a somatic experience too. It's like getting in your body. Where does it hurt? Where
Hmm.
do you feel it? What does it feel like? Does
Yeah.
it it's a tightness in my chest? It's an empty, hollow feeling in my chest. What does it need right now? Well, maybe it needs some tenderness. Maybe it needs some love. It kind of softens a little bit. So it's not so like
Hmm.
hard in your body, like not immovable. And it
Hmm.
softens. And that's how you can keep your heart open. And to folks who are looking for love, who are looking to date again after divorce, or even wanting to improve the current relationship that they're in, you have to keep your heart open. You have to be willing to have vulnerable conversations. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, even at the risk of getting hurt.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
need the tools to be able to care for yourself when you are hurt.
Hmm. Hmm. That's right. 100%. And you and I, we're aligned completely on our messaging for both of our clients. We both are working exactly on the same exact thing. So, how are you doing with your kids with this situation now? Do you talk to them about your dating? Is that, totally off topic, or how do you handle that with them, and how open are you?
Yeah, not very, because
Okay.
no one seems serious enough. I just
Okay.
thought if I really had something serious, I would probably share it with them. My children,
Hmm.
my younger son is almost 19 years old. My older son is 20. And I just don't talk with them about it
Yeah.
much. I think the younger one doesn't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Again, it's been weird. I think they had parents who they thought were really happy together, and
Yeah.
they wanted to see their parents stay together. And so to hear that, um, I went on a date is it's weird to them.
Hmm.
So, and I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what I'm doing right now.
There is no right or wrong. I think it's okay to share your grief with your children, and to be vulnerable, and to show. I mean, they're young adults now, so they can handle it. I know I do that with my kids. If I'm feeling sad, I let them know. And I think that allows them to be able to tap into because I have two boys too, to tap into their vulnerabilities, which can sometimes be difficult for boys. And so as boy moms, I think we can teach our boys how to do that, and also how to receive that, so that, when they're with future partners, that they're able to hear and be empathetic and whatnot. So I think that's important.
Mhm.
So what is next for you? Where do you see yourself going in 5 years? Do you have big plans? You writing a book? What are you up to?
I don't even know what I'm doing tonight, Lori. So I cannot answer the 5-year question. I have no idea. And here's why I hold the future so loosely,
Yeah,
because one thing I've learned is that we just don't know what's going to happen
yeah.
ever. I mean, I didn't think I'd be sitting here, a divorced person, talking to
Mhm.
you on a podcast about being single and getting back out there again. Never would have thought that.
Yeah.
So I hold it loosely, right? The future. I
Mhm.
am often hopeful and optimistic about it.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm terrified by it. I'm still struggle a lot. Like telling you,
Yeah.
this marriage like screwed me up. Like the divorce screwed me up for a while. I mean, it really rocked me to the core. And so I'm starting now to feel more hopeful, which
Mhm.
is great. But hope takes work. Hope takes a lot of work. You have to actively be hopeful and look for reasons to be hopeful. So what's next? Professionally, I'm still going to just keep doing my thing. People have asked if I'm going to write a book. I don't know. I don't know that I have it in me. I'll just rather
Yeah.
talk on my podcast. I would rather just talk on my podcast and
Yep.
share with people that way. But I hope that professionally I'll keep coaching people because I do love the work. And I think that, even when your life is a mess, like I joke that I'm a life coach with a messy life, and it's true. Doesn't mean I can't help people though.
Yeah.
And I think that, people, can I cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, you can.
People are full of shit when, you see these coaches and they're just like, oh my God, like I'm killing it in my business and my relationship and my health and my fitness goals and everything's great. Like, no, it's not. There's no way it is all the time. There's no
No.
way. So I try to be very honest about what I struggle with.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to show up sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of times it is. I have to do the things that I talk to, the things I talk to my clients about. I have to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like, we're all in this together. We're all, let's do this. So that's professionally, and personally, God willing, I hope that I do get to fall in love and that it's real love. And I will keep looking. I will keep looking, or putting myself out there. How's that? I'll do that.
Well, one thing you haven't done is you haven't filled out a profile on my website. So I would, now that you're divorced, right? Please do that. Go to carolinasmatchmaker.com, fill out a profile. And if a nice man hires me that I think would be a good match for you, then you could receive a complimentary introduction.
Okay.
So that would be a good idea. I mean, I feel like I know you well enough, truthfully, that
Yeah.
if somebody came along that's really decent, I would think, okay, let me call Colleen. But I'm not going to think of you unless you're in my system. So that's for all of you listeners out there as well. And when you and I first talked right after your separation, I told you that if you need assistance with your online dating, please let me know. Happy to do it, even if it's like 1 hour where I go through everything with you and teach you everything. I know as sort of a woman about town that you may feel uncomfortable being online. I totally get that. But you can be on private mode on Match.com,
Oh, okay.
in case you didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then you
I
can
know online dating is the way to go. And I told my clients, this is when I was still married. I was like, yeah, you should do online dating. And now I'm faced with it. And I don't know. I'm resistant to it.
Yeah.
I resist it.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Since you're meeting people organically, then it's fine. But for people out there that aren't meeting people organically, it is really the way to go.
I agree totally.
In my opinion. So it's really sort of casting that wider net. You're doing awesome. Is it okay if I say I'm proud of you? Because it's really nice to see your journey, and you're doing a amazing work with your podcast and with your life, and you're walking through it, and I've seen you just turn into a butterfly through all of it, because I know how much pain you were sitting in a little over a year ago, and you're just doing great, Colleen.
Thank you, Lori. And I take that, or I received that compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. And I'll say it's because I committed to doing the work to heal. And for anyone who might be listening who's going through a divorce or a bad breakup and it's causing you a lot of pain, just commit to doing the healing work and nurturing yourself and getting help through a therapist or joining a support group or something like that. But really doing the work to heal and care for yourself, because it will serve you so well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so committed to not hanging on to hatred and bitterness and resentment, and because I did for a while, that was strong and solid, and I've worked to let that go. I'm not fully there yet.
Yeah.
I joked on a podcast, or I didn't joke. I said on a podcast, I'm giving myself 5 to 10 years to forgive. And people wrote to me and said, 5 to 10 years? I said, yes, I'm being honest about it. Like I'm being honest about it, like little by little. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay. So, but I'm committed to doing the work and helping other people with doing the healing work too.
Very good. Well, where can people find you? What are your socials?
Instagram's the best place to connect with me. It's at Colleen_Odegaard, COLLEN_ODEGAARD. And then my podcast is called Wake Up to Your Life. And my website is ColleenOdegaard.com. So you can find me there.
Wonderful. I'll put that all in the show notes. And then lastly, do you have a special charity that you're connected to?
I do.
What
How
is
nice
it?
of you to ask. Yes, Congregations for Kids. I serve on the
Okay.
board.
Mhm.
We serve children who are in the foster care system in Charlotte and surrounding communities too.
Wonderful. I'll put that in the show notes too if anyone wants to make a donation in your name. There you go.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm passionate about that. These kids need us. And I like to think of them as the children, not like
Yeah.
their children or my children or your children, but the children. The children need us who are in these really difficult, vulnerable situations. And so there's something that we can all do to help them.
Lovely. Thank you so much. It has really, really been a pleasure seeing you again.
Oh, you too, Lori. You're the best. You're so awesome at what you do.
Thanks for listening to Love on the Go. I hope you join us on our next episode. You can make sure to know when it is by following us wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed it, it'd be great if you left us a review. I'd appreciate it. In the meantime, to learn more about me and how my team can help you, visit carolinasmatchmaker.com. Until next time.